someone that I look to for answers when I don't have them. And, you know, some of those rude comments that were made on Sunday, you know, got me thinking about who we are as a people. You know, if you're going to talk Lakota and talk about sovereignty, then remember who you are first. You're Oglala Lakota first before anything else. And long time ago, you know, I talked with a spiritual leader, a medicine man, about this. And he told me that the Two-Spirit people played an important role in our societies a long time ago because they were prophets and they could see the future. And he said that one of them even rode a crazy horse. And who we are as a people, you know, we don't have that hate. It's hard to see all the way around us when people talk about hate, but that's not who we are. Especially if you claim to be Lakota and you speak Lakota and you live Lakota. No, that's not who we are. And when people talk about religion, you know, us Lakota people, we don't have a religion. We have a way of life. And one of my uncles that I really look up to, he told me, respect don't come with age. It's a two-way street. You give it, you get it back. You earn respect. So I just wanted to say that much about things that were said on Sunday. And it's hard sometimes to sit back and bite your tongue. You know, my tongue looks like bubble gum because I bite on it all the time. Sometimes it's hard, you know, but they expect us to just sit here when, you know, sometimes people are too mean. So I just wanted to express myself today and apologize to my sister, Cora, for not being here to stand up and stop any verbal attacks like that. But I just want you guys to know, you know, we sit here and we talk about moving together as a circle for our people, then let's do it. Don't let the outside circle influence our relationships here to move forward as a full council. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman, for that time.
Thank you, Councilor Steele, for you know, for bringing that up. And you know, one of the things that, you know, just being the chair is that, you know, just always, you know, it's always been my opinion to be inclusive as possible, and you know, especially, and also, you know, inclusive to our religious perspectives, our diversity, but also how we believe in, you know, love is love. So that's, you know, that's the, you know, that's how I operate. And again, you know, so definitely want to just be mindful of that. If in the future council, if people can give me heads up on some of that stuff, that I can better moderate some of those. If you know if there's a person that has history or anything like that, we could moderate some of that stuff and kind of control it a little bit. But again, you know, appreciate Councilman Steele for bringing that. You know, and I'm not sure if there's any other feedback, but I know that there is, you know, we have to go into executive session to handle the complaint process on item number 7. Is there a motion to go into?
Chairman,
go ahead.
I don't remember the executive session being a part of the process, but me, I'll make a motion to dismiss all complaints.
Okay, so there's a motion by Councilman Steele, second by Councilman Rodriguez to dismiss this complaint. Any discussion on that, council?
Yeah, I have a comment.
The motion is to dismiss all 9 complaints.
Okay, okay. Go ahead, Councilwoman Sears. So go ahead, Councilwoman Sears, and then Councilman Rodriguez. Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
You know, there's a time when we have to start listening to the people. We have people that were hurt, people that have concerns, and we as council got to think about that. We were put in here as leaders. You know, it was said earlier, that people are not happy with us, but we have to have thick skin. And, you know, I don't believe that we need to sweep these complaints under the rug anymore. We were elected individually from our districts to do the right thing. This is just a complaint that needs to be heard. You know, whether it's true or not, you know, these people have a right. And I'm in between this because, you know, Miss Little Hawk is my constituent here on the council, but I also represent the people from my district. And I know people ain't going to be happy, but we also have to hear our people. You know, this has been going on for so long. We don't have an ethics committee, and I keep saying that. We got to have this ethics committee in place so these complaints don't come like this to us. They can resolve it. If it's nothing, they can, you know, report that to council, or if it's bad, then report the findings. But that's not happening either. Myself, I can't, you know, we need to just start listening to our people. Like we said, we listen to the elders and we hope something gets done. And one of the complaints is from one of the guys that talked. He was on the radio from the elders. He had concerns, and I believe that we can't sweep these under the rug. So I hope you guys can look at individually and use your own minds, you know, because we were put in here from our districts, and and it's hard. It's really, really hard decision today when I looked at the complaints, and to remove all of those is not good. Our people are listening out there, and it's just to be heard, just to hear these people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Rodriguez.
Just Mr. President.
Thank you. Is there additional questions on that motion, Council? To dismiss. Hearing none or seeing any online. The Councilman Steele motion to dismiss the complaints. Seconded by Councilman Rodriguez. No further discussion. Secretary, if you could run that vote.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.
Yes.
Blake Little Thunder.
Yeah.
Cora Whitehurst. Yes. Ryan Jabinigo Sr.
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.
Yes.
Austin Watkins Sr. Tyler Yellowboy.
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.
Yes.
Ron DeBrey.
Oh.
James Cross. James Cross. Ella Giancarlo. Yes. George Dreamer Jr.
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear. Yes. Richard Ironclad.
No.
David Poyer.
Yeah.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston.
Abstain.
Jackie Sears.
Yeah.
Michael Carlos Sr.,
Abstain.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Yep. Council, that motion passes 14 yes, 3 no, and 2 abstentions. Thank you, Council. So we'll move on to item number 8, which is the district. Councilman Steele, do you want to present that?
Can I ask the secretary to read that for the record, please?
Mr. Still, my office received that information, but we did not receive a resolution. We received a letter from the Wounded Knee College Center, Oglala Lakota College, and that was the only thing we received.
Okay, well, it's my understanding that we would get a resolution for it. So if we could, Chairman, I'd like to put that on later on the agenda. And if we could ask one of our tribal attorneys to draft a quick resolution so we could probably address it tomorrow sometime.
Okay, that's fine. We'll motion to defer. We'll defer this down on the agenda, so come back to that. So we'll add it after the 2/3 business. We'll come back to it. So moving on, we'll go into OST Land Committee. Chairman Carlo, you got 4 items on here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I apologize this morning for putting the cart before the horse, but every morning when I saddle up my horse and get on, I ride like the wind. Okay, the first resolution is, Chairman, resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe to support the introduction and passage of a proposed tribal bill by the United States Congress to construct new facilities and projects and transfer mineral rights held by the United States to the tribe in the South Unit of the Badlands National Park. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted a constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935, pursuant to Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. subsection 5123, and under Article 3 of its IRA Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the tribe. And whereas Article 4 of the tribe's IRA Constitution enumerates certain powers vested in the tribal council, including the power to protect and preserve the property of the tribe under Article 4, Section 1, subsection N, and to protect and promote the general welfare of the tribe and its membership under Article 4, subsection W, and whereas Section 16 of the IRA also recognized the inherent sovereignty of the Oglala Sioux tribe by providing at 25 U.S.C. subsection 5123H that notwithstanding any other provision of this act, number 1, each Indian tribe shall retain inherent sovereign powers to adopt governing documents under procedures other than those specified in this section. Whereas allotted and fee lands held in by tribal members and other former owners that are acquired by the United States by eminent domain in 1942 for the establishment of the former Pine Ridge Aerial Gunnery Range were subsequently transferred to the tribe for inclusion in the South Unit of the Badlands National Park, pursuant to the Act of August 8th, 1968, 82 Statute 662, and then 1976 Memorandum of Agreement between the National Park Service and the tribe. Whereas the United States retained the mineral rights on lands transferred to the tribe within the gunnery range pursuant to Section 5 of the Act of August 8, 1968, and whereas in its protection, the property and general welfare of the tribal council believes that federal legislation is needed to authorize the construction and management of new facilities and projects in the South Unit of the Badlands National Park pursuant to the Indian Self-Determination Act, Public Law 93-638, 25 USC 450, and authorize the transfer of title of all mineral rights retained by the United States in the gunnery range in the name of the United States in trust for the Oglala Sioux tribe. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux tribe, pursuant to its constitutional authority, inherent sovereignty, and government-to-government relationship with the United States, hereby request the United States Congress to pass the proposed tribal bill attached to this resolution to authorize the construction of new facilities and projects in the South Unit of the Badlands National Park, and for other purposes stated in the proposed bill. Be it further resolved that Senator John Thune, Senator Mike Rounds, and Congressman Dusty Johnson are hereby requested to introduce, sponsor, and support the passage of the proposed bill in the current session of the United States Congress, and be it further resolved that the Secretary of the Interior, Deb Haaland, is also hereby requested to work with Senators Thune, Rounds, and Congressman Johnson to provide all necessary assistance to the Oglala Sioux tribe to get the proposed bill enacted by Congress. Be it further resolved that the tribal president, Mr. Kevin Killer, and tribal land committee member Mike Carlo or his designee shall be responsible for meeting personally with Senator Stone, Rounds, Congressman Johnson, to explain to them the history of the Pine Ridge Aerial Gunnery Range, the 1968 Act, the 1976 Moratorium and Agreement or Memorandum and Agreement adopted pursuant to the 1968 Act, and why passage of the proposed bill is important to Oglala Sioux tribe and should be passed by the United States Congress. Certification. And the last part of that is the bill. Kind of winded here, so Secretary, you want to take over? Do we need to read that entire bill?
In the Senate of the United States, Mr. introduced the following bill, which was read twice and referred to the committee. A bill to authorize the construction of facilities and projects in the South Unit of the Badlands Park and for other purposes. Be it enacted by the Senate and House Representatives of the United States of America in Congress assembled.
Thank you. So is there a motion? Motion by the chair of the land committee, second by Councilman Rodriguez. Any discussion on this, council? Hearing or seeing none, the bill, for the record, we'll post on the website. I think Ms. Eagle can get that on the website, so we'll get that bill up. But just, and if we get it to the official floor of the Congress, we get a senator to introduce it. It'll be official record, so we'll make sure that it's introduced to the record. People can see it online. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, or Councilman Steele?
You know, I got some members in my district that are real instrumental in the fight to keep South unit as is, and I, you know, really hate to vote on anything that is into that regards, without having any input from some of our membership into this. It might be a good thing. It might not be, I don't know. Without consulting with some of my membership that I know that do have grave concerns when it comes to the South unit. And so I don't know, I'm gonna entertain a motion to table it and bring it back at our next regular. But if it fails, I hope we do get the education of this bill out there so our people do understand what it is that we're passing.
So there's a motion, tabling motion overrides the preceding motion. And is there a second, council, on that? Seconded by Councilman Poyer. And the tabling motion limits the debate on that, so we just have to take the vote on referring this back to the committee and having further discussion. Secretary, if you could run that vote. There's a motion made by Councilman Steele, seconded by Councilman Poyer for further discussion.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
No.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse. Yes. Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.,
No.
Gerald Canario Jr.,
No.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
Ron DeBrey,
Yeah.
James Cross,
Yes.
Hello Giancarlo,
No.
George Juma Jr.,
No.
Julian Spotted Bear, no. Richard Ironclad,
No.
David Poyer,
Yeah.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
How?
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Sr.,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
No.
Garfield Still,
Yes. Yes.
All right, get to make a vote. So,
motion tied.
So I'll vote to send this back to committee just for better explanation. But also so we could lay out like a better legislative agenda and make sure that we get this, you know, all the everything explained well. So, but again, I'll work with the bank committee chair on making sure that we, you know, get all the public input that we need on this, and then we'll bring it back and make sure that we get it passed. As it was Senator Brown, Senator Sioux, and again, you know, I know that the term South unit is politically charged, so it's a politically charged word. So anytime you say South unit, it brings up feelings on both sides. So we just want to make sure that we clarify that this isn't really pertaining to the South unit or mineral rights. This is a bigger issue. So yeah, so we'll definitely do that. So we'll all vote to send it back to committee. Okay, so yeah, so the motion passes to send it back to committee, and we'll take that up. So the next item we have Chairman Crowe.
Mr. Chair, I think rather than have it tabled, I think this next resolution kind of coincides with some of that. And I would prefer that, you know, my colleague here can get with his representatives in those communities out there, and we can have them come to the meeting and either support it or be against it. But I'm asking that we table this one too.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Second by Councilman Steele to the table. So again, council tabling motion limits the debate. So Secretary, could just run that to table to send that to committee. Thank you.
For clarification, is that item C, resolution of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe authorizing the feasibility study to construct a new casino hotel resort on Richard Table. Correct? Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse. Yes. Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy, Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
Ron DeBrey,
Yeah.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella John Carlo,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironcloud,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Ha.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Sr., Bernardo Rodriguez Jr., Garfield Steele,
Yep.
Okay, thank you, council. That passes 18 yes, 2 no, with the tabling motion overrides, so that will be sent back to land committee as well, and to hopefully bring that back at some point. So, Councilman Yellowboy, did you have a question or a comment on? No, okay. Go ahead, Chairman. Your next item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next one is resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe notifying the superintendent of the Badlands National Park of the tribe's intent to resume the concession for the Cedar Pass Lodge as a parental congressional consigner under the Act of August 8, 1968, and paragraph 4 of the 1976 agreement adopted pursuant to the Act. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted a constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935, pursuant to Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S.C. subsection 5123, and under Article 3 of its IRA Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribe Council is the governing body of the tribe. Whereas Article 4 of the tribe's IRA Constitution enumerates certain powers vested in the tribal council, including the power to negotiate with the federal government on behalf of the tribe and to advise and consult with the representatives of the Interior Department on all activities of the department that may affect the Pioneers Indian Reservation under Article 4, Section 1A and whereas in 1942, the United States acquired through eminent domain an area 43 miles long and 12.5 miles wide in the northwest boundary, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation for the aerial gunnery range for the United States Air Force. And whereas the aerial gunnery range consisted of not only individually owned allotted trust lands, fee lands owned by tribal members and non-members, but also of a substantial amount of tribal trust lands leased to the United States. And whereas in the 1960s, the Department of Air Force declared the aerial gunnery range excess to its needs and portions of the excess lands was requested by the National Park Service. Inclusion within the Badlands National Monument under the Federal Property and Administration Service Acts of 1949, 63 Statute 377, and whereas in the 1960s, the Badlands National Monument consisted of tribal lands acquired by the United States from the Oglala Sioux tribe and its sister Sioux tribes. Under the Act of March 2nd, 1989, 25 Statute 888, and whereas the Badlands National Monument was redesigned, designated as the Badlands National Park by the Act of November 10, 1978, 92, Statute 3467. Mario really makes me want to work today. Whereas Congress passed the Act of August 8, 1968, Public Law 178/82, Statute 663, to revise the boundaries of the Badlands National Park by adding lands within the aerial gunnery range requested by the National Park Service under the Federal Property and Administrative Services Act of 1949. And whereas as part of the quid pro quo, one of Trump's words, in Section 5A of the 1968 Act for the right of the United States to use all tribal lands within the Badlands National Monument for monument purposes, which include the tribal lands leased by the United States in the former aerial gunnery range. Section 5B of the Act provides the following. The Oglala Sioux Tribal Council may authorize the exclusion of the necessary instruments to effect the exchange on behalf of the tribe, and the Secretary may execute the necessary instruments on behalf of the United States. And whereas the necessary instruments include the agreement entitled Memorandum of Agreement between the Oglala Sioux Tribe and the National Park Service of the Department of the Interior to facilitate established development, administration, and public use of Oglala Sioux tribal lands. Badlands National Monument, signed and approved by the Oglala Sioux Tribal President Dick Wilson and Secretary of the Interior's Thomas S. Kepley, and on January 2nd, 1976, and whereas in the 1976 agreement provided in part as follows. The tribe and the service hereby agree. The tribe shall have preferential treatment to contract for development and operate concession facilities, which may be included within the Badlands National Monument. Provide and upon written notice duly given to the tribe by the service of the need for such facilities, the tribe shall within 6 months of receipt of such notice from the service of its intent to exercise the preferential treatment. And whereas the Oglala Sioux tribe was the concessionaire for the Cedar Pass Lodge facilities located in the north unit of the Badlands National Park from 1970 to 2002, and held concession from 1976 to 2002 under the preferential right paragraph of the 1976 agreement. And whereas the superintendent of the Badlands National Park informed the tribe through its land committee at a meeting held at the Lakota Hotel in Rapid City, South Dakota on March, I don't remember what that date was, and Secretary could insert that date, that the expiration of the current Cedar Pass Lodge concession was extended 1 additional year, and that after expiration of the concession, it would be awarded the Cedar Pass concession to any concessionaire under the National Parks Omnibus Management Act 1998, Public Law 15-391. 112 Statute 33497, now withstanding paragraph 4 of the 1976 agreement recognizing the Oglala Sioux tribe as a preferential tongue is tied. Concessionaire, and whereas Section 402 of the National Parks Omnibus Management Act of 1998 provide to permit part that, except otherwise authorized by law, the Secretary shall utilize concession contracts to authorize a person, corporation, or other entities to provide accommodation, facilities, services to visitors to units of the national park. Whereas the Oglala Sioux tribe does not agree with the National Park Service's interpretation because the 1968 Act is a pre-existing law which authorizes the Secretary of the Interior and the Oglala Sioux tribe to agree to paragraphs 4 of the 1976 agreement and recognize the tribe, Oglala Sioux tribe, as a preferential concessionaire for the Cedar Pass Lodge concessions. Number 2, National Park Service is a stoppage from awarding the concession to a non-tribal concessionaire is violation and breach of paragraph 4 of the 1976 agreement. Since both the tribe and the National Park Service recognize the tribe as a preferential concessionaire under paragraphs 4 until 2002, when the tribe temporarily gave up the concession subject to reapply for it as a preferential concessionaire under paragraph 4 of the 1976 agreement. And whereas the Oglala Sioux tribe desires to exercise its preferential right to Cedar Pass concession upon the expiration of the concession of the present concessionaire pursuant to Section 4 of the 1976 agreement. Now therefore be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux tribe hereby notifies the superintendent of the National Park Service of its intent to exercise its preferential rights to apply for and hold a concession for the Cedar Pass Lodge upon the expiration date of the concession of its present concessionaire pursuant to the 1968 Act and Section 4 of the 1976 agreement. And be it further resolved that shall send a copy of this resolution to the superintendent of the Badlands National Park by United States mail, return receipt requested, and provide copies of the return receipt to the tribal president and chairman of the tribal land committee. And be it further resolved that the superintendent of the National Park Service is requested to make an in-person report to the tribal council on how the National Park Service intends to honor and implement this resolution at a time and place mutually agreed to between the parties. Certification, motion to approve.
So there is a motion to approve, seconded by Councilman Jumping Eagle and Councilman Hopkins. Go ahead, Councilman Bouyer.
Mr. Chairman, I think we need to add a section in there that it has to go to the Omaha district, because in the previous administration, when we tried that, they said we didn't notify the Omaha district because that's who's in charge of Cedar Pass. So we have to add a section in that resolution someplace, because they used that on us before.
Yeah, we could add. So is that okay, Chairman, to add that Omaha district? Okay. Thank you, Chairman Steele, or Councilman Steele.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to table based on the same recommendations.
So there's a motion to table. Is there a second? Is there a second? Seconded by, no second? Okay, question, okay. Is there a second? So there's no,
I'll second. This is Jackie.
Okay, there's a second, there's a motion to tables, by Councilman Steele, seconded by Councilwoman Sears. It's a non-debatable motion. So Secretary, if you want to run that vote on this.
Leslie Hawkins Senior,
No.
Blaine Little Thunder,
Yeah.
Cora Whitehorse. No. Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
No.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yeah.
Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy,
No.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
No.
Ron DeBrey,
Yeah.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
No.
George Dreamer Jr.,
No.
Julian Spotted Bear, no. Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
David Poyer,
No.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston,
Yeah.
Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlo Senior,
No.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
No.
Garfield Still,
Yes.
That motion fails on a 4 to 16 votes. Thank you, committee. So we got Councilwoman Whitehorse and Councilman Jumping Eagle.
Thank you. I just had a couple of questions, and I'm sure Mike can answer me, but, you guys, does land committee have a plan on if we do get preferential concessionaire?
Due to the time frame, you know, it probably won't happen until end of this year. We figured that would give us enough time to put together a plan.
Okay, then I guess my next question, are you considering having the Parks and Recreation Department oversee it like the last time?
In our discussions, that's where we're at.
Okay, and if we do get the preferential concessionaire status for next year, then is there a thought of the money or where the money will come from to start it?
In talking with the Parks and Recs, you know, some of their monies that they have might be able to be utilized to start this. And some of the monies, you know, we generate from the gate, we might be able to use some of that money too. So this discussion is going on with, you know, where the monies will come from. But I'm sure that we'll have a plan put together. And that'll probably be like a 10-year, I think, contract.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was clarified that this isn't for this year, that this year will be a planning year, and hopefully we get the contract starting next year. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Councilman.
So when we met with National Park Service a couple of weeks ago, you know, they snuck in some language in there. I think after the 76 MOU, they snuck in another, and Mario they gave a date. There was another set of, like another MOU that National Park Service snuck in concerning these concessions. So that's why it came forth that, you know, Cora, if you remember last term, we met with, Land Committee met with National Park Service out to Interior. And we told them then that we wanted first preference for the concession. You know, that's gonna bring in a lot of revenue. We all know how many people come through over there to Cedar Pass every summer. But when we heard about this other language that came in after the 76 MOU, you know, Mario raised the question that isn't right. You know, they need to follow this MOU from 1976, and
the way it sounds, Mario wasn't aware of it, the tribe wasn't aware of it, and it kind of sounded sneaky. So that was one of the reasons why this was brought forth too. But in that MOU, you know, it says we have first preference, and I think we need to hold them accountable to that. So I'm in support of this 100%. You know, it'll bring revenue to our tribe that we need. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions, council? So there's go ahead, Councilman. A little wonder.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think it'll be adequate for people, you know, for we have out there, like a lot of jobs there in the surrounding area that the tribe gets a concession. I think it's a lot of people surrounding area would have jobs there too. For their family's income, you know, so far it's pretty hard to get jobs on the reds here. So we had that concession before that, I don't know, people had preference job, and then I think nowadays different concessions that they bring in their workers, employees from outside too. I think, you know, I see a lot of people that's working on less of our members that work out there. So I think it'll be a good time for people to get a chance to have jobs out there. So and also maybe a lot of people that are skilled in the arts and crafts that can utilize to buy the products and sell it on tours, or you know, vice versa. They can have their artwork and use the income from that. So I just want to comment on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Oglala. Additional questions on this? I just have one quick one. Chairman, do you know how many jobs currently exist at that facilities out there?
I couldn't answer that question without talking to maybe the Parks and Recreation Department who did before, but I could find that out and answer that question.
Thank you, I appreciate it. So with that, Secretary, if you want to run the votes on to approve this item. And Chairman, I think you're batting, you're 0 for 2 right now. So yeah. That's kidding.
Mr. Carlo, I did find out the date of your meeting. That was March 8th, so that will be inserted in that whereas. And also regarding the comment by Mr. Puyer, we could insert in the first be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution shall be sent to the Omaha District and the Superintendent of Badlands National Park in that paragraph.
Okay, thank you. Chairman or Council, oh no. Okay, cool. So with that, seeing no further questions, Secretary, if you could run the vote on its passes. Thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.
Yes.
Blaine Little Thunder.
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse.
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.
Yes.
Austin Watkins Sr. Tyler Yellowboy.
Yeah.
Wendell Youngman Jr.
Yeah.
Ron DeBrey.
Oh.
James Cross.
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo.
Yes.
George Streamer Jr.
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear. Yes. Richard Ironclad.
Yes.
David Puyer.
Yes.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston. Jackie Sears.
Yeah.
Michael Carlo Sr.
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.
Yes.
Garfield Still.
No.
Council, this passes 18 yes, 2 no. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman. Appreciate it. Your next item, Chairman.
The next resolutions, Chair, we were going to ask, we determined we could insert both names of Ron DeBrey and Gerald Collier Jr. in that resolution. Is that correct? Okay, moving forward. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and Unincorporated Tribe. Resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe adding Mr. Ron DeBray, Mr. Gerald Canoyer Jr. to the Land and Natural Resource Committee. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe was organized under Section 16 of the 1934 Indian Reorganization Act by adopting a federally approved constitution and bylaws. And whereas the Tribal Council conducts business using a variety of standing committees for which members are normally selected at the beginning of the term of the government. And whereas since the committee's rosters are made, Mr. Ron DeBray, Ascot District Representative, Mr. Gerald Canoyer, Medicine Wood District Representative, have decided to serve on the Land and Natural Resource Committee. Whereas on the 20th day of March 2021, the Land and Natural Resource Committee met in a special meeting with a quorum present and voted to approve this resolution and forward to the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council has considered the matter and desires to take the recommended action now, therefore it be resolved, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council hereby adds Mr. Ron DeBray, Mr. Darrell Canoyer Jr. to the membership of the Land and Natural Resource Committee. Certification, motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second by Councilman Dreamer, Councilman Rodriguez. Any discussion on that? Hearing or seeing none online or in person, Secretary, if you could run that vote.
Wesley Hawkins Sr., Blaine Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yeah.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy, Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yeah.
Ron DeBray,
Abstain.
James Cross,
No.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear, yes, Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
David Clear, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Jackie Sears, Michael Carlos Sr.,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr., Garfield Still,
Yeah.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
Okay, Council, that passes 16 yes, 2 no, 1 abstain, 1 vote. Thank you, Council. Thank you, Chairman. We'll come back to you. I know you have one more item, but that's on the 2/3. Is that, yeah, so we'll come back on the 2/3. So we'll jump to Chairman Jumping Eagle. I know you have your items on here.
Okay, so this is a resolution of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the personnel policies and procedures for the Native Healing Program. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe organized under Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 USC subsection 5123 by adopting a federally approved constitution and bylaws, and under Article 3 of the Tribal Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the tribe. And whereas Article 4, Section C, M, and W of the Tribal Constitution empower the Tribal Council to approve the disposition of tribal lands, protect and preserve the property of the tribe, and adopt laws protecting and promoting the health and welfare of the tribe and its members. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Healing Program is a tribal program and under the auspices of the HHS committee, and whereas the OST Health and Human Services has reviewed the personnel policies and procedures for the Native Healing Program and has recommended approval from Tribal Council. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council does hereby approve the personnel policy and procedures for the Native Healing Program. Motion.
Motion, is there a second? A second by Councilman Youngman and Councilman Rodriguez. A discussion on that?
This is Laura. I have a comment.
Go ahead, Laura.
Thank you, President. There was a longer resolution that's more explanatory, and I was just wondering, did you want to use that resolution? I don't quite remember that shorter resolution.
Secretary, do you want to explain that?
When we received the packet from the HHS secretary, she did provide all of this documentation, and she did have the short version of the one that just was read. So we never got a copy of the longer version that you're speaking of. Thank you.
Okay, just whatever the committee chooses to use, that's fine.
Chair, I think all the language is included in here, so I'll motion to approve this one.
Okay, so that's a motion. Okay, we're good. Okay, thank you. Further discussion? Go ahead, Councilwoman.
Brian, has this gone through Dean and HR already? Because we need to know where it affects our current financial management and HR policies.
So Laura, maybe you can confirm this, but it was stated that it did go to all the places it needed to go. And then Laura was the last review of it, so.
Okay, yes, I can do that, thank you. This is a little bit confusing because actually it's a NHP operations manual, policies and procedures. So it makes it sound like it's an HR policy and procedure, but really it's not. It's an operations manual, and that's what the longer resolution explains. And it's the last resolution I sent to Dwayne, or I sent to his people if I didn't send to Dwayne. So just whichever route you choose to go, but the last resolution I had was a longer one that explained it's just the operations manual.
So should we go with that one? Laura, can you read that longer one?
Sure. I sent it to Stacy this morning and Don, and I can read it right now if you would like.
Sure.
Is that what you would like, President Killer?
Go ahead.
Okay. Resolution of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, unincorporated tribe. Resolution of the Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approving the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Healing Program Operations Manual, Policies and Procedures. Subquote Operation Manual with revisions, namely for 42 CFR Part 2, clinical protocol for all clinical levels, centennial event notification process, monthly fire drill procedure, OIG exclusionary process, in addition to HIPAA security. Whereas the Oglala and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, 25 U.S. Code, Section 5123. And under Article 3 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe, and Whereas Article 4, Section 1W of the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Constitution authorizes the Tribal Council to protect and promote the health and general welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe Native Healing Program provides treatment, services, support groups, and drug and alcohol counseling designed to reduce drug and/or alcohol dependencies in our Native American peoples in Rapid City and the surrounding Native American communities. And whereas the Native Healing Program Operations Manual provides administrative staff and clinical staff with the direction, standards, and guidelines for compliance and delivery of alcohol and drug abuse/dependency services to all tribal enrolled members in the Rapid City community and surrounding reservations. And whereas the Native Healing Program Operations Manual was last approved by the Oglala Sioux Tribe Council in 2015 and is in need of revision. And whereas changes were made to the Native Healing Program Operations Manual, namely for 45 CFR Part 2, clinical protocol for all clinical levels, centennial event and notification process, monthly fire drill procedures, OIG exclusionary process, and addition to HIPAA security. And whereas the Health and Human Services Standing Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe met on February 16, 2021, and hereby recommended approval of the revised Native Healing Program Operations Manual by the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council, and recommended this resolution be forwarded to the Tribal Council at its committee meeting on March 9th, 2021. Now, therefore be it resolved, based on the recommendations of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Health and Human Services Standing Committee, the Tribal Council does hereby approve the Native Healing Program Operations Manual as revised, which is attached hereto and incorporated by reference as if fully set forth herein. And be it further resolved that the tribal president, or in his absence, the tribal vice president, is hereby authorized to sign any documents on behalf of the Oglala Sioux Tribe to implement the revised Native Healing Program Operations Manual.
Thank you. Councilman Yellowboy.
Thank you, Chair. So on page 2 under government, it says the OST Health and Human Services Committee. I think that needs to be updated before that goes further. It lists the Health and Human Services Committee, but it has the old Health and Human Services Committee from last admin. And then there's some dates on here, Ordinance 90-03. The Tribal Council meeting, January 27, 1999. I don't know if that's relevant or not, if that was the meeting that was actually held. A lot of this is just, it's not a personnel policy or procedure, it's just a program's operations manual. And I think that needs to be updated as well, to take off the policies and procedures and just leave it as a program operations manual.
Go ahead, Chairman.
You know, there's a lot of questions, and the attorney did review it, but I guess I could withdraw my motion and we'll take it back to the committee.
All right, so you wanna, Chairman, would you motion to table and refer back to committee? Or you just want to?
We could just take it back. I don't think we need to run a motion for that, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
Do we? Okay, so I'll motion to table. Send it back to committee.
Motion to table, seconded by Councilman Steele, Councilman Watkins. To table and refer back to committee. Secretary, if you could run that vote, thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.
Oh.
Blaine Little Thunder.
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse.
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Senior,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr., Austin Watkins Senior, Tyler Yellowboy, Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
Ron DeBrey,
Oh,
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo, George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Julian Spotted Bear, yes, Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
David Poyer,
yeah.
Sonia Wilhawk Weston, Jackie Sears,
Oha.
Michael Carlos Senior, Bernardo Rodriguez Jr., Garfield Still,
Yeah.
Okay, council, that passes unanimous 24 to refer back to HHS committee. I'll go ahead, Chairman.
No, Chair, I apologize for that. This HHS committee, we rarely make mistakes, so I'll get it corrected and I'll bring it back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. Okay, so we'll move on. I think the finance, okay, yeah, okay. So IHS got everyone all riled up, I think, so everybody's voting no today, so this is the only two items left here, so. Go ahead, Chairman.
Thank you. The first is the ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council approving and accepting the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2020 Section 5311 Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula apportionment to the Oglala Sioux Tribes Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $806,232 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be administered by the Oglala Sioux Tribes Oglala Sioux Transit Program. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935 in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934, and under Article 3 of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. Whereas Article 4, Section 2W of the Tribal Constitution empowers the Tribal Council to adopt laws protecting and promoting the health and welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas Article 4, Section 2F and 2M of the Tribal Constitution empower the Tribal Council to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and to protect and preserve the property of the tribe. And whereas the Economic and Business Development Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe is a standing committee for the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit and recommended on March 5th, 2021, the approval and acceptance of the FTA's fiscal year 2020 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula apportionment. See attached FTA Table 10, FY 2020 full year Section 5311C Public Transportation of Indian Reservations Formula apportionments to the OST's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $806,232 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be forwarded on to the Finance Committee for approval and acceptance. And whereas the Finance Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe did recommend on March 12, 2021, the approval and acceptance of the FTA's FY 2020 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula apportionment to the OST's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $806,232 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be forwarded on to the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council for approval and acceptance. And whereas according to the Super Circular 2 CFR subsection 200.414C1, subject to the limited exceptions, the negotiated rates must be accepted by all federal awarding agencies. The Tribal Transit Formula Program 5311C1 does not fall within one of the limited exceptions. Therefore, if the Oglala Sioux Tribe chooses to use the lower indirect cost rate Authorization must be received from the tribal council for the use of the lower indirect cost rate. And whereas the OST DOT Oglala Sioux Transit Program is currently funded by the tribe's Department of Transportation and the Federal Transit Administration to operate a deviated fixed route rural transit system on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council now seeks to exercise its authority under Article 4, Sections 2F, 2K, 2M, and 2W of the Tribal Constitution to approve and accept the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2020 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment Award to the OST DOT's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $806,232 with an approved 10% IDC rate. Now therefore be it resolved, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approves and accepts the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2020 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment to the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $806,232 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be administered by the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit Program. And be it further resolved that the President of the Oglala Sioux Tribe is authorized to sign all documents necessary for the execution of this grant award. The President is also empowered to negotiate with the U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Transit Administration to approve any changes in the original application as necessary. Motion to approve.
Motion made, seconded by Councilman DeBrey. Discussion on that? Did you have a question, Councilman DeBrey? No question on that. Seeing no questions online or in person. Secretary, if you could run the vote, thank you.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
Yes.
Lynn Little Thunder,
Oh,
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
yes.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy,
Yeah.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
Ron DeBrey,
Oh.
James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
Yes.
Jillian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironcloud,
Yes.
David Queer, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Sr.,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Council, that passes 24-0 against, unanimous. Thank you, Council. Chairman.
Thank you, President. Ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council approving and accepting the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2021 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment to the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $775,889 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be administered by the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit Program. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935 in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934 and under Article 3 of the Oglala Sioux Tribe Constitution, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council is the governing body of the Oglala Sioux Tribe. And whereas Article 4, Section 2W of the Tribal Constitution empowers the Tribal Council to adopt laws protecting and promoting the health and welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas Article 4, Sections 2F and 2M of the Tribal Constitution empower the Tribal Council to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and to protect and preserve the property of the tribe. And whereas the Economic and Business Development Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe is a standing committee for the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit and recommended on March 5th, 2021, the approval and acceptance of the FTA's FY 2021 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment. See attached FTA Table 10 FY 2021 Full Year Section 5311C Public Transportation of Indian Reservations Formula Apportionments to the OST's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $775,889 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be forwarded on to the Finance Committee for approval and acceptance. And whereas the Finance Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe did recommend on March 12, 2021, the approval and acceptance of the FTA's FY 2021 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment to the OST's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $775,889 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be forwarded on to the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council for approval and acceptance. According to Super Circular 2 CFR subsection 200.414 C1, subject to limited exceptions, the negotiated rates must be accepted by all federal awarding agencies. The Tribal Transit Formula Program 5311C1 does not fall within one of the limited exceptions. Therefore, if the Oglala Sioux Tribe chooses to use a lower indirect cost rate, authorization must be received from the Tribal Council for the use of the lower indirect cost rate. And whereas the OST DOT Oglala Sioux Transit Program is currently funded by the tribe's Department of Transportation and the Federal Transit Administration to operate a deviated fixed route rural transit system on the Pioneer Indian Reservation. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council now seeks to exercise its authority under Article 4, Sections 2F, 2K, 2M, and 2W of the Tribal Constitution to approve and accept the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2021 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment Award to the OST DOT's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $775,889 with an approved 10% IDC rate. Now, therefore be it resolved, the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approves and accepts the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2021 Section 5311C Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment to the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $775,889 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be administered by the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit Program. And be it further resolved that the President of the Oglala Sioux Tribe is authorized to sign all documents necessary for the execution of this grant award. The President is also empowered to negotiate with the U.S. Department of Transportation's Federal Transit Administration to approve any changes in the original application as necessary. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, second by Councilwoman Carla. Any questions on this, Council? Seeing or hearing none online or in person. Secretary, if you call that roll, if you call it.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.,
Oh,
Blaine Little Thunder,
oh,
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle Sr.,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
no,
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy, Wendell Youngman Jr.,
yes,
Ron DeBrey, James Cross,
Yes.
Ella Giancarlo,
Yes.
George Dreamer Jr.,
yes,
Jillian Spotted Bear, yes, Richard Ironclad,
yes,
David Poyer, Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlos Senior,
Yes.
Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Council, that passes 19 yes, 1 not voting. Thank you, council. Chairman.
Thank you. Ordinance of the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council approving and accepting the Federal Transit Administration's Coronavirus Response and Relief Supplemental Appropriations Act of 2021, Section 5311C, Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment to the Oglala Sioux Tribes Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $765,799, with an approved 10% IDC rate to be administered by the Oglala Sioux Tribes Oglala Sioux Transit Program. Whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribe adopted its constitution and bylaws by referendum vote on December 14, 1935, in accordance with Section 16 of the Indian Reorganization Act of 1934. And under Article 6 of the Oglala,
and then one of those little trailers is back over there, so there's still 3 missing. They took them for the weekend or something.
And whereas Article 4, Section 2W of the Tribal Constitution empowers the Tribal Council to adopt laws protecting and promoting the health and welfare of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and its membership. And whereas Article 4, Section 2F and 2M of the Tribal Constitution empower the Tribal Council to manage all economic affairs and enterprises of the Oglala Sioux Tribe and to protect and preserve the property of the tribe. And whereas the Economic and Business Development Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe is the standing committee for the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit and recommended on March 5th, 2021 to approve the approval and acceptance of the FTA's FY 2020 CARES Act, Section 531C, Public Transportation. I'm sorry, I think that was supposed to be FY 2021 in that 3rd line. Oh, 4th line. CARES Act, Section 531CC, Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment. See attached FTA's Table 4 to the Oglala Sioux, to the OST Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $765,799, with an approved 10% IDC rate to be forwarded on to the Finance Committee for approval and acceptance. Whereas the Finance Committee of the Oglala Sioux Tribe did recommend on March 12, 2021, the approval and acceptance of the FTA's FY 2020, I think that's supposed to be FY 2021 as well. CARES Act, Section F5311C, Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment. See attached FTA Table 4 to the OST's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $765,799, with an approved 10% IDC rate to be forwarded on to the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council for approval and acceptance. And whereas according to Super Circular 2 CFR subsection 200.414C1, subject to limited exceptions, the negotiated rates must be accepted by all federal awarding agencies. The Tribal Transit Formula Program 5311C1 does not fall within the limited exceptions. Therefore, if the Oglala Sioux Tribe chooses to use the lower indirect cost rate, authorization must be received from the Tribal Council for the use of a lower indirect cost rate. And whereas the OST DOT Oglala Sioux Transit Program is currently funded by the Tribe's Department of Transportation and Federal Transit Administration to operate a deviated fixed route rural transit system on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. And whereas the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council now seeks to exercise its authority under Article 4, Sections 2F, 2K, 2M, and 2W of the Tribal Constitution to approve and accept the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2019, that's not right either. Okay. FY 2021, Section 5311C, Public Transportation on Indian Reservation. Formula apportionment award to the OST DOT's Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $765,799 with an approved 10% IDC rate. Therefore, be it resolved that the Oglala Sioux Tribal Council of the Oglala Sioux Tribe approves and accepts the Federal Transit Administration's FY 2021, and that is CARES, it's supposed to be CRRSSA or CRRSS Act, Section 5311C, Public Transportation on Indian Reservation Formula Apportionment. See attached. See attached FTA table, and that resolved is supposed to be ordained. Okay. See attached FTA table 4 to the OST Oglala Sioux Transit in the amount of $765,799 with an approved 10% IDC rate to be administered by the Oglala Sioux Tribe's Oglala Sioux Transit Program, and be it further ordained, not resolved, that the president of the Oglala Sioux Tribe is authorized to sign all documents necessary for the execution of this grant award and may also assign or delegate a representative to sign appropriate documents. The president is also empowered to negotiate with the Department of Transportation, with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Transit Administration to approve any changes in the original application as necessary. CRRSA. In the 1, 2, 3, 4, whereas it's not, it's FTA's FY 2021 CRRSSA. Any place that it says CARES in here, it's supposed to be the CRRSSA Act. Motion to approve with amendments.
Motion to approve as amended, seconded by Councilman Carlo and Councilman Youngman. Council, was there any discussion on this besides the amendments? Hearing none or seeing none online. Secretary, if you want to run the vote.
Wesley Hawkins Sr.
Yes.
Wayne Little Thunder,
Oh.
Cora Whitehorse,
Yes.
Ryan Jumping Eagle,
Yes.
Gerald Canoyer Jr.,
Yes.
Austin Watkins Sr., Tyler Yellowboy,
Yes.
Wendell Youngman Jr.,
Yes.
Ron DeBrey,
Oh.
James Cross,
Yes.
Hello Giancarlo,
Yes.
George Streamer Jr.,
Yes.
Julian Spotted Bear,
Yes.
Richard Ironclad,
Yes.
David Poyer,
Yeah.
Sonia Little Hawk Weston, Jackie Sears,
Uh-huh.
Michael Carlo Sr., Bernardo Rodriguez Jr.,
Yes.
Garfield Still,
Council, that passes 24-0 against, unanimous. Chairwoman, do you have any regular committee items left?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. So Council, so we're at the end of our regular agenda. Is it okay if we stop here and then we'll come pick up tomorrow? And we'll have our special committee items, the 2/3, and then we'll have the reports. Councilman Clear.
I just have one question. I thought last month, Mr. LaPointe said he was coming back to this meeting. Is he coming?
We didn't hear back from him. He said he was coming. So I'll email him or try to follow up as soon as he'll be here tomorrow, maybe. I have a few items in my report, Council, that I'm going to need to get some added on. I know that Mr. Mills wanted a letter of support, and then Dewey Burdock might come, so we might have Mr. Brinks here under my report. There might need to be some action, but we'll get that stuff out to you. And then I think that's it. I have then just my regular items, but other than that, yeah, we'll take the 2/3 items tomorrow. We'll try to start again at 10. I don't think we need a motion. We'll just go into recess. But go ahead, Councilman Jumping.
Chair, can we try to start at 9? Thank you.
So we'll start at 9, meaning we'll start at 10. So,
Chairman,
Councilman Steele.
can we go till 5? We got half hour left.
And so, no, I'll just call a meeting in recess. So I got basketball, so I need a break. So with that, we'll just go into recess, and then we'll be back tomorrow at 10, and then we'll have a pretty light agenda tomorrow, hopefully, and then we'll kind of keep it moving. So with that, we'll just be at recess. We'll need a motion or anything. So Council will be back here at 10, and then we can kind of finish up. So thank you.
Is the superintendent going to be here tomorrow?
BIA or?
BIA?
Well, I'll follow up on that. So yeah, I'll follow up on that. So I know.
Yeah, can you try to make sure they're here, because I have a lot of complaints about GA.
Okay, yeah, we'll follow up. Thank you.
What?
Chairman, can we leave our stuff here?